Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to Krypton Research, and in this video we're going to be going over an ICO that's currently out there called Bananacoin. And right off the bat, I had so many questions about what this coin was going to be, what they're going to do with bananas, and I have never seen a coin like this in the ICO market. So right off the bat it caught my interest. Their website is very nicely laid out. And initially I got some nice impressions, and we're going to be taking a look initially at their light paper, which gives us a brief introduction about what they're going to be doing, a little bit about their project, and so on. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So what is Bananacoin? So who the team that makes up Bananacoin are a bunch of professionals with outstanding experience in successfully running the first and only eco-banana plantation in Laos. So Bananacoin is not a startup. They have been growing and selling bananas with great profit over 3 years. So basically what they are is they are a group of people who are in the agriculture industry, and specifically in the banana industry in Laos. And what they have right now is they currently have banana farms in Laos, and what they're doing here is they're trying to raise money via the ICO platform and to expand their operations and their the amount of land they have that they're farming on. Basically is what the overall objective of this coin is, and their goal is to decentralize the business and take it beyond the framework of traditional financial institutions. Today, only several blockchain projects work successfully, and we are one of them. They have over 40 people on the team, and everyone is valuable to them, obviously. So basically, they are decentralizing the farming process, and the investors that are getting in this, they have full transparency with everything that they're going to be doing in terms of how much they're spending, how much they're getting, how much revenue they're getting by selling the bananas, etc., etc. So that is pretty cool. I haven't seen anything like this, so let's go ahead and keep on going through. So the Bananacoin team. Oleg Drobrovsky is 53 years old, Russian entrepreneur, and he is responsible with the interaction of all the working business departments, and he is 100% involved in the project. So he is kind of like the CEO, kind of the one who's in charge of the project and making sure everything's running smoothly. Alexander, I can't pronounce the last name, Bishkov. Alexander Bishkov. He's 35 years old. He's a father of 4 and has been involved in establishing companies in wholesale and retail sales from scratch over 17 years. And he is responsible for marketing and communication. So they have some nice retail background. He's built a lot of businesses in the past, so he is a nice asset. Mr. Prasan Sangstatjam. He is 41 years old. He's a leading agronomist of the project, and he has his degree in also agro-industrial. So he's a pretty smart guy. He knows a lot about the agricultural industry and the science behind agriculture. And he has his own agriculture business, and his family owns an extensive plantation in Thailand. So that is some nice experience to have on the team. Someone who already has a large plantation, who has had it for in his family for a long time. So that's a nice asset. Additionally, we have Anna Guncheva, who is the owner of a creative agency, extensive background in advertising and marketing, and she is responsible for marketing and investor relationships of the project. They have an IT developer, Eugene. He has specializes in big data, and he is responsible for the smart contract and personal account selection. So that's their IT guy for getting this coin tokenized and built on the blockchain, and a person who's in charge of all the smart contracts and that sort of stuff. And last but not least, there's a legal team, obviously, who is there on every project to make sure that they're doing everything properly with the Laos government and with whoever's participating in this ICO, like the U.S., they're being compliant with everything that the U.S. has, the U.S. tells them to. So why bananas? Basically, they can grow anything they want to on the land, but they choose bananas because there's one simple answer to that. It's because they are in demand, and you're going to create and sell things that are in demand. You're not going to go and sell passion fruits and papayas and mangoes, which aren't really in high demand, or even in, there's just a constant demand in those potentially. But bananas is something that you usually find in everyone's house. Everyone loves bananas. Most people love bananas. Let me just clarify that. And their target market is China. And in China, there is a higher demand than the supply due to the recent activity suspension of 18 Chinese-supported banana plantations after violations of safety regulations regarding use of agricultural chemicals. So basically, these Chinese producers were using pesticides and fertilizers that were not allowed and that were banned by the Laos government. And as a result of that, they suspended 18 Chinese-backed plantations. And there's an issue with this because, one, the workers who are exposed to these chemicals often got sick. As you see here, they had open sores on their arms and began to get headaches and dizzy spells, and that's not very good at all. That's very bad for their health. And additionally, when you have these fertilizers and you have these pesticides on the plants, when it rains, they're going to wash off, and the chemicals that run off into the water streams, they'll go into the local rivers, lakes, etc., and they're going to contaminate the fish there. They're going to contaminate the water there, and it's just going to ruin that ecosystem as well. So that's why the Laos government stepped in and they banned them. So these Chinese investors were only thinking about themselves. They invest lots of money and take advantage of the villagers, as it says here, and they took advantage of the Laos government and the Laos people, and as a result, they got the boot, and that's proper. So that's good to see that they're not being ruled by these Chinese, and that they have they tell them what's up. So as a result of those 18 plantations not being around, that's a pretty significant decrease in the supply of bananas that were going to China. So as a result of that, there's an increased demand, and the export of bananas to China has increased from 42% of the total volume of banana exports to 88%. So Laos is sending most of their bananas that they get to China, and China's buying them up, and that'll continue to happen because, like I said, there's no longer 18 plantations. They're gone, and these people are trying to expand their operations. Bananacoin's expanding their operations because there is this demand, and they will be able to sell their products. So basically, the banana they're going with is called the ladyfinger banana, and one thing that's stands out about this project is that they're not using any chemicals in their plantation. It is a 100% eco and organic plantation, and what organic means mainly is that it's a method of crop and livestock production that involves much more than choosing not to use pesticides, fertilizers, genetically modified organisms, antibiotics, growth hormones. So what this allows is it protects the environment, protects the soil from degrading, decreases pollution, maintains a long-term healthy level in the soil, biological diversity in the ecosystem, doesn't damage any other ecosystems, and it provides attentive care that promotes health and that meets the behavioral needs of livestock. So overall, they're not using any chemicals that's going to take things out of equilibrium. They're going to use just the proper they will have to use some chemicals, but these chemicals won't be harmful, and they are farming organic, so that is nice to hear. So they're growing ladyfinger, which is also a very nutritious and delicious banana, and it sells at a higher premium and a higher price because they are in higher demand because they're better bananas. They taste better, and they're very nutritious. They're small fruits up to 12.5 centimeters long, so they're pretty small bananas, and They're pretty popular in China and across the world. So why Laos? They could be growing anywhere else. They could be growing in Thailand, Vietnam, etc. So mainly in Laos, they have been growing there for the past 3 years, and they have a very nice team built and a productive relationship with the government, which is always must need. You have to have that if you are a foreigner in another country and are farming, especially when there has been all these controversy with Chinese farmers. And in Laos, there's a lot of great advantages. There's higher average air temperatures, so they're going to be growing year-round. And there's more fertile soil. It's called red soil. And the red soil is very nutritious, and it's going to be nice for the bananas to grow. And they're going to be nice and healthy. There's availability of a cheap water source, so costs aren't going to be very expensive. And electricity is very cheap as well. So they're going to have low fixed costs, quality soil, and quality climate conditions to grow there. And they are entering the 8,000 hectares of the territories that have never been used in agriculture. So these lands that they're planting on are virgin, and they have not been used and are free of any chemicals and pesticides. So they won't be running into any issues in these lands. They're going to be very proper for them to farm on, as they haven't been used. And as they're trying to plant on the 8,000, what may be in the future 8,000 hectares, that's why they're raising this money, so they can go and expand their operations, because they have access to this virgin forest, and they might as well make use of it, because there's a demand for bananas, and they can make money as a return. So the Bananacoin ICO, obviously they're using the Ethereum blockchain, and the emission of tokens will be connected with the export price of bananas. So the Bananacoin is valued with, each Bananacoin has, it's pegged to the price of 1 kilogram of bananas. So as they start producing bananas, the price of these tokens will automatically go up, because when they sell these bananas, they're going to be selling the banana tokens. And when people buy the banana tokens, they're going to be an exact value in relation to how much a kilogram of ladyfinger bananas cost. And as a result of that, they will be pegged to the price of bananas, which is nice to know. So now you're getting in at a bit discounted price, and in the future, when the bananas start to be produced, you will in turn own the bananas that are produced, and you can even exchange your banana coin for bananas that they make, which is pretty interesting. So developing a 630 hectare farm will cost us about $7.325 million, and that is the hard cap of the project. And the soft cap to the project is expanding by 100 hectares of land. Thus, the amount of the 7,324,000. The accumulated cash flow increases by 2.3 times by the second year of the project, and 1.3 times by the third, 1.7 times, and then 1.3 times annually over the following year, from year 4 to year 7. So if they get the full investment, they're going to be increasing cash flow as the years go by, which is very nice to see. And they're not going to be losing cash flow. At the same time, the annual revenue is expected to be around 1,623,000, and starting costs are around $909,000. So and the project development is going to be around $329,000. So that's how they're going to be spending out their money. And once they start getting revenue coming in, and that's when they're going to be able to not worry about those costs. They're going to be able to use that money and directly put it back into the business. But initially, they need to cover these starting costs right here and the project development costs. That's why they're raising this ICO. Why participate in Bananacoin? Like I went over before, they're protected by the commodity value of 1 kilogram of bananas produced by the company, and as the during the crowdfunding, the production areas are to be increased to 360 hectares using the funds. So As they get more funds, they're going to be expanding their production and increasing revenues and cash flows. And in 18 months, the value of banana coins will grow because the rise in sales volume and the dynamics of the cost of 1 kilogram of bananas. And basically that means that as they produce the bananas, the value of the banana coin will go up because it's directly tied to the bananas that they're producing. So that's all they have in their light paper, which is just going over a brief introduction about the company. And we're going to be looking at the business model of the development by example of, let's just say this is their soft cap, which is a 100 hectare plantation. So the cost per 1 hectare is $511,000, no, I'm sorry, $51,000. And this is just the cost that they're going to be going through: ground cleaning, irrigation system, which is a big cost, $665,000. Tractors and machinery, roads and tanks, power lines, transformers, ready production place, plants, warehouse and storage facilities, vehicles, and labor costs. So what the big costs here are going to be labor and the irrigation system. So total, they're going to be, the cost for them to launch a plantation of 100 hectares will be around $2,035,000. And that's their soft cap that they're aiming to raise. So the operating expenses for the first year will be, the first year they're just going to be setting up everything. So they're going to be setting up their farm, and they're going to need fertilizers, electricity, packing and transportation to get everything settled in, and that's going to run them at around $492,000. The second year is when they will start to bring in the labor and the rent on the land that they're renting. It increases 30% per year, so that's going to be $52,000 plus their labor costs, which is going to be pretty significant expenditure. Fertilizers, again, electricity, packing and transportation, and it's all going to run them $912,000. But like they said, 18 months for them to harvest. So this is the second year going into that 18-month time, and this is when they will be buying more laborers and packing up the bananas and transporting them to China, and that's where the costs are coming in from. So the price of the ladyfinger bananas, or let's just go over this first. The profit from the first harvest will be $4,500,000 minus their cost of $2,035,000 minus the cost of the operating expenses in the first year, and they will make around $1.9 million. So, which is very nice, and that's provided that the price of the organic bananas is $1. But if you look at the price chart here of the ladyfinger changes ever since January of 2016, it started at around $1.75, went up to a maximum of $3.50, and it's made a low at about a $1.25. And we haven't broken that $1.25 level. We've just been fluctuating in this level. But as we went over before, the Chinese producers that are leaving the market, they will they will create an impact in the supply of bananas. And as a result of that, the price will increase, and we will see this over time go higher, and it'll probably go back up to the $3 range. And here they're only assuming $1, so we would multiply this by about a factor of 3 if it goes back up to the $3 mark. So they would be making $6 million. So that's a pretty significant number you have to keep in mind. So during the operation of their plantation in the Vientiane province of Laos, the price had never dropped below 1.14 US dollars. So that's pretty significant, and they're assuming the very low end of the spectrum at $1. So that's very nice that they're only expecting, this is the low end of the profit that they're expecting. The Chinese plantations the number of Chinese plantations are declining, deficit of bananas are growing, and the price will only be increasing in the coming months. And in some months, the price has already reached $3.5. So this graph right here is delayed. As you can see, it goes up to June. So they said that in the months after this, it actually did go back up to $3.50, which is very nice. And this is definitely the low ball of that then. So they were making around $7 million profit following the first harvest. So next we're going to be looking at the banana prices here. If you see here, this is from November 2002. This is just the overall index for banana prices, all the bananas put together. But as you see here, clearly started off at around 46 cents, and over time it's been going up due to inflation and due to a decreased supply potentially, and increased demand in bananas. And keep in mind that their product is organic, so they will be able to charge more per kilogram for their bananas because it is organic. So that's another factor we have to keep in mind. So as you see here, current prices are around they're above $1, and they've been above $1 for ever since November of 2010. And these are just overall prices, and ladyfinger bananas haven't gone below the $1.14 mark, so that's the benchmark. They're more expensive obviously than main bananas and the general bananas, so that's very nice that they're growing the ladyfinger variety of these bananas. So next we're going to be checking out the competition that they have currently. So their competition includes countries such as Vietnam, and in Vietnam they produce about 1.4 million tons of bananas every year, and a huge share of its exports are to China. But one factor in Vietnam is that due to the American-Vietnamese War of 1965 through 1973, there were a lot of chemical elements and from the bombs and ammunition, gunfire, everything, whatever the case may be, spoils of war that seeped into the soil of Vietnam, and as a result of that, their soil is ridden with many chemical agents, and that means that their products aren't going to be organic, and they will have to use more chemicals to combat those chemicals that are already in their soil. So their soil isn't on a healthier level than Laos. Laos's red soil is much healthier, and it contains much less harmful chemical elements. Cambodia is also a potential competitor, and China is planning to increase the import of agricultural products from Cambodia. So they're competing with Cambodia and Vietnam mainly. So that's their competition. It's all in the same area as Laos and Thailand. And if you look in this map, there's Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. These people are the producers of the bananas, and they're going to China. Another thing that we didn't go over is that where they are located in Laos, which is this area right here, it's near Thailand and in like the central western area of Laos. In this area, they are landlocked, so that means that unlike Vietnam, who is susceptible to hurricanes, typhoons, tsunamis, etc., Laos is not. Laos has many hills, and they have many mountains surrounding the farms, so they aren't even impacted by the winds coming from the oceans, and the land is very quiet in terms of natural disasters. So that's one key element to that is very beneficial to them choosing the Vientiane province in Laos. So now we're going to go over their roadmap. So far the project looks very nice. So literally all you're doing is they're just trying to raise money so they can expand their banana operations, and bananas are in high demand, and they are going to go up in price as there's going to be a decrease in supply coming up here soon as the producers in China are kicked out. And but the producers in China, once they harvest their current crops, they're kicked out after that. So once that's done, there's going to be a significant decrease in the supply of future bananas, and that's when in 18 months, when Bananacoin, when their farms are producing, they're going to be able to fill that void, and they will have plenty of demand, so where they will be able to sell their products to in the Chinese markets. So in March, they got cooperation with Chinese specialists on leased plantation. In June 2016, they got started on their own plantation, so they already have a background and they already know what they're doing. And they did this potentially as a test run to see whether or not they would be able to expand in the future. In December, they had their first harvest, and in September of 2017, they began their first sale of the pre-sale of these of the banana tokens. And in October to 29th of November, they had a private sale, private investors, and November 29th of November to 30th of February is their third stage. This is their ICO stage. And in December of 2017 through March of 2018, as they're raising this money, they're going to be putting that into preparing the grounds for the upcoming planting of the bananas, and later on harvest in April to December. Also, they're going to start growing. So as they're preparing land, they're going to start growing on that land, and they're just going to be moving forward. As they raise more money, they're going to be expanding their operations. And in December of 2018 is the sixth stage, and that's tokenizing their coins. And what they're going to be able to do is people will be able to produce or purchase these bananas directly by purchasing their tokens. And like we said, they're tied to the price of bananas. So considering the price of bananas $3 or kilogram is $3.50, their token is going to be a minimum of $3.50 in valuation, because it is pegged to the bananas. Here they're just going over their team. Here's some of their partners. Like we said, they're partnered with Oren. Oren is this guy right here, Peter Peng, also is the CEO of Oren Irrigation, and he's going to be helping them out with all the irrigation, all that sort of stuff. So they already have everyone. They already have the proper people on their team. All they need to do now is raise the money and handle it. Start preparing the land and start to plant these bananas, and then in 18 months they're going to be able to harvest them. So they've been in the news lately. They have a very nice marketing team. Here on the bottom, they just go over some frequently asked questions. Let's see how many tokens they've sold so far. So right now the price of their tokens is 50 cents. And it's 50 cents because they don't have any bananas backing them right now, so that's why they're 50 cents. And as they begin to have the physical product, the price will go higher. So currently they've sold 1.5 million tokens, and out of 14 million tokens that they're trying to raise for the $7 million hard cap. So remember, their soft cap was about $2,035,000. So they needed to sell about 5 million tokens, a little over 5 million tokens, to expand their operations by 100 hectares. So that's all we have for Bananacoin. If you guys want to participate on this ICO, they also have a Telegram group. If you just go on their website, bananacoin.io. The price target on this is currently, we're buying it at 50 cents, and in 18 months, when the price of these ladyfinger bananas go up, and over time, you're going to see the price of fruits and vegetables and, overall food go higher, as there are more people eating food, and as it becomes harder to grow this food, because we are taking over and using the nutrients in certain soils, and over time that's just a natural resource that's going to diminish over time, and that's just a simple fact. So right now we're buying it at 50 cents. In 18 months, considering the price is at $3.50, our token will be worth a minimum of $3.50, and that is a nice return on our investment. That is about a 6-time return on our investment from 50 cents. So that is very nice to know that they will actually have bananas where you can actually trade your tokens for. So it's a legitimate project. I like how they're using the ICO platform to raise money for this, and it's a completely decentralized. So that means that they're not susceptible to any sort of, no one can take them down, and they're completely transparent with everything that they do, which is very nice, because a lot of the times, if let's say you say one of these Chinese investors came to you and said, we're going to invest in, we're going to make some banana farms, we're going to give it to you for 50 cents or whatever. Let's just say they're something similar to this price, and they come in there and they're using these pesticides and fertilizers, and these investors don't know that they're using that, and they get kicked out, and then they give them the false sense of hope that we're going to be doing great. We're going to be doing everything properly, and they get kicked out, and the people who hurt in the end are going to be the investors, and they didn't even know what was going on in the first place. So with it being decentralized and completely transparent, we're going to know exactly what's going on, and they already have a very nice relationship built with the Laos government, so they will be able to continue their operations so long as they're doing everything properly, and their team is filled with a lot of professionals and people who have done banana farming for a very long time. So I have full faith in the team, and with that being said, I just want to remind you guys that I'm not giving you financial advice here. I'm just going over this Bananacoin project as I found it, and it seemed like a very interesting project to me. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for your time, and if you guys have any questions or want to reach out to the Bananacoin team, just go on bananacoin.io and you can reach out to them on their Telegram. They have a Twitter page, Facebook page, YouTube, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. So their website is also laid out very nicely, very professionally done project. And with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for your time, and long live the blockchain. See you later, everyone. Thank you.